Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. My dear respected brothers and sisters, our masajid are the beating heart of our communities. They are the places where our children first hear the Quran, where tears fall in sujood, where janazas remind us of the hereafter, and where young and old stand shoulder to shoulder before Allah. But what happens when the heart itself becomes diseased with conflict, ego, and division? When the Masjid, the house of Allah, becomes a battlefield for power, politics, and personality? Today we need to speak honestly, with pain, but also with hope, about a framework to restore unity in our mosques, so that they become institutions truly worthy of our faith and our future. Across the country, there are cracks forming in the very foundations of our masajid. These are not small disagreements, they are deep wounds. Power struggles between imams and trustees or committee members, each side thinking they alone must control the mosque. Communities splitting into factions, families divided, friends no longer speaking, separate jama'as forming under the same roof. New rival mosques opening on the same street, not out of need for space, but out of anger and resentment. Sometimes matters escalate so far that trustees drag one another to court, and the Charity Commission has to intervene because governance in the house of Allah has collapsed. Every one of these scenarios weakens the Ummah from the inside. But, my brothers and sisters, the most devastating cost is not simply institutional. The real price we are paying is the loss of an entire generation. Our young people watch all of this. They see hypocrisy, backbiting, shouting matches in meetings, leaders clinging to power, and they quietly conclude, these institutions are not governed by taqwa and principle, they are governed by ego. Then they slip away. They lose their spiritual home, their sense of belonging, and in some cases may even lose their faith. Is there any tragedy more heartbreaking than a masjid that drives the youth away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instead of bringing them closer to Him? Yet with all this pain, there is good news. Our noble tradition has already given us a path to healing. At the very heart of that path is a powerful concept, sulh, reconciliation. Sulh is not just sorting things out informally. In our fiqh, sulh, an amicable settlement by mutual consent, is regarded as the superior method of resolving disputes. Its aim is not for one side to triumph and the other to be humiliated, but to restore the strength of the whole community. Allah Azza wa Jal tells us that the believers are but brothers, so make peace between your brothers and fear Allah that you may receive mercy. Imagine two frayed ropes, torn by years of tension and suspicion, being carefully woven back together until they become one strong cord again. That is sulh in action. The framework we are speaking about takes this beautiful Quranic and prophetic spirit and turns it into a real, practical system that a British mosque can actually use and rely upon. This framework stands firmly on two pillars. On one side, timeless Islamic principles, adl, justice, talab al-haq, truth-seeking, sulh, reconciliation, and maslahah, prioritizing the community's welfare above individual ego. On the other side, solid UK legal foundations, voluntary, consensual processes, binding and enforceable outcomes under the Arbitration Act, and a legal duty to act fairly and impartially. When these two pillars are combined, our process gains both spiritual legitimacy and legal strength. The decisions that emerge are not just nice suggestions to be ignored when convenient. They are fair, binding, enforceable outcomes that protect everyone. The journey itself has two clear stages. 1. Stage 1. Mediation, seeking sulh. This is always the starting point. A neutral mediation committee facilitates confidential dialogue between the parties. The goal is to find common ground, to preserve relationships, and to reach a voluntary, written agreement that both sides can live with. 2. Stage 2. Arbitration, seeking a just ruling. If sincere mediation fails and no agreement can be reached, only then does the process move to arbitration. A neutral arbitrator hears evidence from both sides, weighing it according to Islamic principles and UK law, and issues a binding decision, a just award that all must respect. We move from mercy and mutual consent to firm justice when needed, without ever leaving the boundaries of Sharia or the law of the land. One of the biggest sources of conflict in our mosques is the confusion of roles. The Imam begins to think he is the absolute ruler of the institution. The Masjid trustees and committee members begins to think they can dictate religious content. Each side invades the other's domain, and friction becomes inevitable. This framework insists on clear, written clarity from day one. The Imam's domain is religious authority, leading the prayers, delivering khutbahs, providing spiritual guidance, teaching Quran and Deen. The trustee's domain is governance, finances, budgets, building maintenance, policies, and strategic planning. Legally and practically, the Imam is an employee and spiritual leader, not an autocrat. The trustees are governors, not muftis and preachers. This clarity must be built directly into the employment contract itself, so everyone knows where their responsibilities begin and end. Then comes another crucial area. What happens when someone is accused? Allah warns us, "When a fasik brings you news, verify it, lest you harm a people out of ignorance and then regret what you did." A just process in our mosques must guarantee 4 things. Clear notice of the specific charges to the accused. A full right to be heard, to present their defense, bring witnesses, and respond to the evidence. An impartial decision-maker, with no personal interest or bias in the matter. And finally, if someone is wrongly accused, a right to vindication, for their name and reputation to be openly restored in front of the community. This is not a luxury. This is part of taqwa, part of standing for justice for the sake of Allah. Who actually carries out this work? The engine of this whole framework is the Masjid's mediation committee. This committee is made up of individuals familiar with UK law to ensure alignment with governance, respected community members known for integrity and fairness, religious or scholarly figures who can ground decisions in Islamic teachings. They must embody 4 key qualities: integrity, impartiality, Islamic knowledge, and complete discretion. When a conflict arises, mediation is not a chaotic shouting match. It is a structured cycle. 1. All parties formally consent and agree to ground rules, including confidentiality and civility. 2. The committee meets each side separately to truly understand their concerns and desired outcomes. 3. Joint sessions are then held to identify areas of agreement and explore possible solutions. 4. If a resolution is reached, it is written down clearly, reviewed, and signed by everyone. If we do this, what will our communities look like? Conflicts will be resolved quickly and fairly. Unity will be placed above personality. Trust in our institutions will be restored. The accused will know they will be heard and protected, not humiliated and discarded. Relationships will be preserved wherever possible. And most importantly, our young people will finally see Islamic integrity lived out in practice, not just preached from the pulpit. This framework is more than a procedure. It is a promise to hold tightly to the rope of Allah together and refuse to be divided. A promise to build Masjid that are truly worthy of the word House of Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, restoring unity is not a distant dream. It is a choice. It is a choice to put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala above nafs, principle above pride, and the next generation above our own egos. May Allah make our Masjid beacons of mercy, justice, and unity. May He heal our divisions, purify our intentions, and allow our children to witness communities that truly live by the Quran and the Sunnah. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.